Hey guys, this is AI Gaming 1776 and I want to do a handful of things with this video. First of all, I want to show you the best settings that I found so far for playing Mirror's Edge Catalyst with a 980 Ti. Now keep in mind, if it works for a 980 Ti, it should probably work for a Titan X, and it should probably work for a 1070, probably even better for a 1070, because there are some VRAM issues with this game. As you can see, we're using more than 5 gigabytes of VRAM right now, and that's with everything not maxed out. Where I suspect that it might be possible that the 1070 could actually max the game out because it's just a VRAM issue. So that's some good news there. Anyway, I'm going to show you the best settings that I found so far. I say so far because I haven't had a chance to dig deeply enough into the game to make sure that there aren't any trouble spots later on. You might have to turn something down. If you do run into some trouble spots, just use the Ultra preset. I'll put it like that. The settings I'm using now are higher. I'm about to show you. But let me show you a few other things, all right? See this right here, GPU memory restriction? That's pretty important because this game was stuttering even on the high preset at 1440p, and it was driving me nuts. Even with VSync off, the game was stuttering and it was not playing properly whatsoever. And I thought, I'm going to tell you what I honestly thought, and I am not making this up, guys. I thought Nvidia must have gimped the 900 series cards already. I really thought that. Because the frame rate was not bad, but man, the performance was just in the gutter. So that GPU memory restriction, turn that sucker off, all right? And once I did that, I quit having the stuttering problems. All right, so I'm going to show you the settings. If you're not going to stick around for the whole video, that's cool. Just and these, it's almost like cheating. These settings are so easy, but if you would consider liking the video, it would help me. And here we go. Basically, you want to play the game at 1440p with the GTX 980 Ti. All you got to do is put textures on Ultra, and the rest of the game you max it out. Like I said, it's so easy, it's like cheating. If it wasn't for the VRAM issue, you could probably max the game out. All right? So if you would consider liking the video, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. Anyway, here we are. I'm using Nvidia's DSR, okay? And that means this video playback for you is 1080p because I'm using a 1080p capture device, but this is 1440p performance. All right? I would turn VSync off, but with DSR, it kicks me every time I do anything. I mean anything at all to the graphics settings. It's going to kick me out of this resolution. It's going to go back to 1080p, and then I'm going to have to jimmy with it, and it could actually mess up the recording. So what I'll do is at the end of the video, I will try turning off VSync, and already screwed that up. All right, but as you can see, we're probably going to keep 60 frames per second. It usually plays at 70 to 90, and I'm stopped here for a reason. All right. You see that lens flare in the lower left of the screen? It's kind of there. You see what I mean? It's like purple lens flare. All right, so this is an interesting time of day and an interesting section because you can see a lot of contrasts. You've got the glowing, flickering lights up there, and then the game is full of brightness. It's actually very rare that you come across like a dark section, so you kind of have a little bit of darkness right here. And then you have the bright billboards there. And then we can also go over here. We can look down at the street. Should be able to. I don't want to fall. There we go. See, there's people walking down there. There's like a little bit of fog going down there. Normally there's cars. It could be the time of day, though, why there's not cars. There's normally a ton of cars. So maybe they're trying to be somewhat realistic. And then, whoop, go over here. Run in here really quickly. And then look how bright this is and the contrasting. And oh, let me back up. There's little lens flare droplets to the right. So I'm just kind of giving you guys a tour of how the lighting looks in the game. This game is all about lighting. All about that lighting. Actually, you know what? It looks like motion blur might be on. Let me see if motion blur is on. If it is, I'll turn it off. So anyway, look, that's the best settings, right? You max out the game. You put textures down to ultra. Is motion blur on? Nope, it's off. I could have sworn I saw some smearing. All right. And you're going to probably with VSync on see it locked at 60 frames per second. And I have VSync on, by the way, because the game was like really, really choppy without it. Okay, by the way, this map, one of the coolest things in the game. It's very fluid. It looks very nice. I wouldn't say it's the most useful map I've ever used in my life, but it's just I'm using a controller. I'm using an Xbox One Elite controller, and it's just so responsive. So it's something silly like the responsiveness of the map makes me happy, and it looks very good in 1440p. All right, meet Icarus near. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Set waypoint. I'm going to turn on runner's vision so you can see what that looks like. Okay, I need to go this way. Oh yeah, this is one of the things that I look through is over here. Now, one thing you'll notice about runner's vision is it'll tell you to go one way, but you can go other ways. Now, one thing I have trouble with in this game, I didn't realize how high up I was. One thing I have trouble with is figuring out whether or not I should hit the B button to roll, which, by the way, because I'm using an Xbox One Elite controller, I have paddles on the back. And what I'm doing is I did not like using the left trigger and the left bumper. I didn't like doing that. Hey, for the jumping and sliding and all that. So I use A and B because I have paddles on the back of the controller. And combat is not the most awesome thing in this game, to be honest with you. See, a lot of reviewers have complained that the combat is too simple. And I think part of why it's so simple is it's very clunky anyway. Hey, buddy. You gonna be okay? You gonna be alright? Gonna be alright over there? Alright, so I did an intervention. Wow, did I really get 100 experience for that? That's pretty good. Alright, so why is it taking me so long to get videos up? Because this game's been out for almost a week, and I almost got it on the EA service where you can play games early. Oops. I almost did that. But I chose not to because I've had a lot of stuff to do with the office, all right? So what I do, and where am I going over there? All right, I'm going over there. By the way, the graphics in this game, they're okay. It's basically Battlefield with filters, right? I mean, from what I understand, it's the Frostbite engine. You can say it's modified or this, that, or the other, but it's just trickery to kind of look good. If you don't max the game out, it's actually not great looking. It's really not. All right, this dude's gonna tell me to go in a window that's just suspiciously open. Oh wait a minute, suspiciously left open. As I almost look at that, there's like a little crevasse, there that I just about fell into. Anyway, he's going to tell me to go into a window. This is an early mission. I'm not trying to, spoil anything. But yeah, whatever. Oh, can I skip it? One thing I don't like about this game is this dude right here always gives you a hard time, but it's not cool, right? Like it's not a cool hard time. It's like a really lame hard time. It's like they're trying too hard to make it so he hates me at the start of the game, and then, maybe later I'll earn his respect or something. But it's just super lame. Trying way, way too hard. Alright, so as you can see, runner's vision is turning everything red. Anyway, so I've been wanting to do a lot more things with the channel for a long time. Alright, I've been wanting to do product reviews. Now, I've always done product reviews, but it has not been the easiest thing. Do I go? Which way do I go? George? Oh. It hasn't been the easiest thing for me to do the way I have things set up. So I've been trying to work in the office so I can do product reviews better. And also so I can do some on-camera stuff. Normally I'm not on camera for a lot of reasons. Not any major reason. There's a bunch of reasons. Part of it's just been infrastructure. Logistics, if you will. So I'm trying to work on all that. Anyway, the reason I'm stopped here is I'm not the greatest at the game. All right, when I'm in the flow, I can get through all this stuff. It's no problem. This is actually your first real mission inside of a building that you do. But man, if you don't hit some of these wall runs just right, you can fail. So like when I'm so yeah, I almost screwed that up. When I'm down with the flow or whatever, oh, I knew I needed to roll. I was going to try to roll. I can do it okay, but then there's sometimes where I have to keep trying over and over and over again. See the shininess on the floor? That, I'm telling you, without the game maxed out, all those little touches aren't there. And I mean, it's okay. It's not busted, but it's definitely not impressive unless you max the game out. So, and like I said, we're using over 5 gigabytes of VRAM now. Sometimes we use less than 5. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we're using 5 because I've played it with like 4.6, 4.8, something like that. It didn't go over 5 before today. So anyway, like this is an area where I messed up a whole lot. Basically, you got to climb over here. Let me tell you what this game is basically, all right? This game is obstacle courses and time trials. There's not real freedom, right? Like if they gave you GTA 5 style freedom, this game would be great, but you don't get GTA 5 style freedom. All right? I told you with Runner's Vision there's more than one way to go, and that's true. But then there's other times where there's literally just one way to go. So let me turn on the Runner's Vision. All right. Hey. There we go. See, that's going to show us where to go. Now you can adjust Runner's Vision so that there's not this much stuff on the screen if you don't want there to be this much stuff. Or you can have, I think this is like max runner vision, I'm pretty sure. All right, so what I need to do is, and I messed this up yesterday, is I need to vault up here. By the way, I stopped playing it. Look how pretty that is. I stopped playing yesterday as I was like, you know what? This is what I want to show everybody in the video. All right. So I've been working on stuff in the office. I've been working on office stuff to make better videos, hopefully. See, there's all kinds of touches like this, right? Where there's like people walking there. So hopefully I'm going to make better videos because, you know, I don't want to make worse videos. So hopefully that works out. But then also, I normally don't like posting videos for a game until I'm pretty sure there won't be performance issues, right? Now, I kind of got burnt on Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, because the first little bit of that game plays a certain way. And then once you get to the open area, even like the first open area that has a bear, like even when you get there, you can run into some issues with performance. But the area after the bear, so after you kill the bear, which, you know, this is in all kinds of, how do you say, trailers for the game and reviews for the game. Like, this isn't the biggest spoiler in the world. There's a bear that you're expected to kill. So once you kill the bear, you go to another area, and then you start having some real problems. All right, some real frame rate problems. And the thing is if you play normally, and here's what I mean by normally, you're actually collecting everything. You're trying to experience the game and not just rush through it. If you play normally, it takes you a good probably 2 or 3 hours to start experiencing the performance problems. Actually, longer than that if you watch the cutscenes. Probably like 4 hours, I'm pretty sure. If you're watching all of the cutscenes and you're exploring everything. So, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I get 4 hours into the game, and then I start seeing the screen frame rate problems, performance problems. Now, the reason why that's such a big deal is I had already posted some videos. Now, in the description of the videos, I had said, hey, this is early in the game. The game might not perform like this, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. The game was getting a perfect 60 frames per second in those videos. And then it was down to like 30. Even with VSync off, I think, down to 30 frames per second in the open area later. So that's a whoa, I hit the wrong button. That's a pretty big difference. So now And it's not that game. It's not just that game. There's other games that have done it. I don't want to post a video for you guys saying, hey, this is how the game plays. And then, oops, it gets worse later. You know what I mean? Okay, so I think the long way is to go that way. And then the shortcut. This is one of those times, yeah. Runner's vision is going to tell you to go red box, up there, over there, upstairs, back around. But you can actually just climb this thing. Now, if it's green or if it's red, it's probably something you can climb or jump on or jump off of or whatever. You know, it's kind of a cheat to the game because everything's like this stark white. Why you no jump? Come on. I did this yesterday, I promise. I totally went this... this is exactly the way I went yesterday. That's interesting. Maybe I'm too high. There. I totally did that yesterday without it being a hassle. So, there you go. Did you hear me when I was clicking the button? That's the paddle. I was clicking it, and my character refused to jump off. So there you go. You got some nice contrast, some nice lighting, some nice effects. When the game is maxed out, it's a pretty good looking game. When it's maxed out. Look at that. But I'm telling you, once you start turning I'm not sure exactly the exact things you turn down to start making the game not look good. And the reason I say that, we're about to go into some story stuff here in a second. The reason I say that is I had the game nearly maxed out and it was not very impressive. The game had to be maxed out, obviously with textures on Ultra, before I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty impressive. And I'm pretty sure we've been at 60 frames per second the whole time. And like I said, it goes between 70 and 90. Sometimes it goes down to like 65 because I've played it on a real 144 hertz monitor. Right? Again, we're using a 1080p capture device in Nvidia DSR right now. All right, so this stumped me yesterday. All right, all you got to do is jump straight up to this thing and then over there. But when I looked at this, I did not think to myself like, oh, she could totally jump from the floor up to that thing. But she can. She got skills. Also, interesting note, I'm showing you some of the lighting. Interesting note, when you go to a new area, sometimes your runner vision isn't making everything all red anymore. And you got to like turn it off and on again to make it happen. Here, we're going to do it now. Huh. See, that's how I ended up figuring it out, was with runner's vision yesterday. I know you heard me hitting that paddle. Come on. Yeah, so this game, there's been a lot of mistakes. All right, there have been mistakes in the playing. All right. I almost want to blame the game, and the reason I say that, like, I'm totally willing to tell you when I don't have skills. Okay, but here's the thing. What's that game called? Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 is very easy to wall run in. Super easy, right? And the game is not even all about wall running. It's about, it's somewhat about wall running. Well, this game is all about it, right? I don't have a gun. I don't have a mech. Because now I'm thinking about, what's it called? Some plot will trigger once I hit X. Titanfall. So Titanfall, I didn't feel like that game had good parkour either. Like, I was never very good at it. Black Ops 3 parkour, totally super easy parkour to do. Wall running and all that. This game is all about the parkour. And yet there's so many times I'm screwing up wall runs and making mistakes and such. Here, let's skip this. All right, so now I need to go over there because some plot stuff happened. So I run back up here. I mean, this area is pretty. Can I make it? And see, some of these jumps I make, and I'm actually really surprised I make them. Now, if I had the sound effects turned up for you, the sound effects sound cool here. But then when you like examine this is like pretty underwhelming. I'm telling you, it's funny. The Frostbite engine, in my opinion, the Frostbite engine gets sometimes more credit than I think it deserves. It's a, you know what? It's not a terrible engine, and I think it even gets 60 frames per second on the consoles in Battlefield 4. It's not a terrible engine. It's just I'm not as impressed with it as a lot of people are. A lot of people are all about some Frostbite engine. I think it just has some tricks up its sleeve, right? It's not been that pretty to me. Although I will say, when I first saw Battlefield 4 on a PlayStation 4, is it even 60 frames per second? I feel like it is. I feel like they made a point of like, oh look, Battlefield 60 frames per second on console now. So I feel like it was. But anyway, I remember on PS4, Battlefield 4 actually did impress me. But that was before I was a PC gamer. I'm just showing you her reflection. That's what we're doing here. Her character model, not that great. Not a super great character model, if we're honest. Oh, 30 frames per second for the cutscene. Huh. That's a cough drop. I've talked about this in my videos before. I have to use cough drops when I make videos. Not sure why we're getting 30. I don't know if the cutscenes are 30 frames per second or not. I'm going to have to search that. When you have the sound effects turned up, her shoes like squeak right here. And it's like, come on, he would hear it. He would have, her shoes squeak a lot. Like every single step, you hear a shoe squeak. All kinds of, how do you say, lens flare. Now, what's interesting is this chick is going to fight the big dude over here. And I'll skip this. I don't want to give you too many spoilers. But it's like no one has guns. Maybe later in the game there's guns. But it's just very interesting that no one uses guns. And I'll tell you what else is interesting about this game. Alright? Something real... Look at that lighting. Something really crazy about this game is... Oh, he's got a gun. Oh yeah, and I saw that yesterday. So everything's like private security. So when you're running around the city, like there's no real cops. You know what I mean? There's no real cops. It's just private security. Which seems really odd. Like I don't know what society they live in. See, this is one of those jumps that I would assume would be improbable. But here we are. So you want to, it's called a focus meter, I believe. It's basically like, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, I should have done a barrel roll. I didn't die in this yesterday, I promise. Do a barrel roll. All right, we got to run through that again. But there's like no real cops. I mean, maybe there are. Oh, by the way, one thing that really sucks about this game, get used to loading screens. Right? Like, I think... I'm going to die again. I'm going to die. I don't deserve you as an audience. I'm sorry. Alright, there we go. Did we make it? Or am I still going to die? That's a good question. Hey, wait a minute. I think the resolution just changed to 1080. Or has it been 1080? Are you kidding me?